was going to say it, I will. Too many brands are playing with fire and calling it progress. The 72-volt hype train is about to derail this entire industry, and people are going to end up in hospital beds or worse. When I first got into e-bikes, 48-volt systems were the gold standard. That was the norm. Then Aerial Rider and Juice bikes dropped their 52-volt models, and I was hooked. I bought the X-Class 52 volts and instantly felt the difference. More torque, more acceleration, more speed. It was a rush. And honestly, it made riding in traffic feel a lot safer. Then came the Juice Rip Racer, 52 volts too, and full of punch. I loved it. I was all in. I was one of the loudest voices celebrating this leap in performance. Then the industry pushed again. E-Cells, Wired, Furious in Canada, Ghost Cat, and Goat Power Bikes all started releasing 60-volt systems. And again, I cheered. I tested them, I enjoyed them. The Dual Star from E-Cells had me flying at 43 miles an hour. And yeah, it was insane, but in a good way, thrilling. But at that point, I started asking myself something important. When is fast too fast? But before we dive in, let's roll the intro. Then 2025 hit and everything changed. Suddenly, companies were flooding the market with 72-volt announcements. Wired kicked it off. Then Magician followed, and now Escape e-bikes. All of them bragging about 50 miles an hour, 52 miles an hour, even 60 miles an hour top speeds, and still calling these machines e-bikes just because they are disguised as electric bikes. They look like bikes. Let me be clear, I have ridden those speeds. I hit 50 miles an hour on the Monster with David Cleveland last year back in Nevada. And yeah, it was fun, it was wild, it was a blast, but it was also scary. I felt like I was dancing on the edge of something that demanded serious respect. I also hit 43 miles an hour, like I told you, on the E-Cells Dual Stars and the 5-star, and that still felt safe because, say what you want to say about David Cleveland, the man did engineer some seriously solid machines. That bike could actually handle the speed, the 43 miles an hour. Then I tested the 80-volt Onyx that hits 70 miles an hour. And look, Onyx builds their e-motorcycles to withstand that kind of speed. The brakes, the suspension, the frame, it's legit. It's all tuned and dialed for those kind of speeds. But for me, as a rider with a background in cycling, not motorcycles, that's where the adrenaline turns into anxiety. Once I'm past 43 miles an hour and I can't pedal anymore, the voice of reason in me kicks in. This isn't biking anymore and I don't feel safe. And when I saw Tail Happy hitting 52 miles an hour on the Magician, a bike pretending to be an e-bike, that's when I knew we've officially crossed the line. But my wake-up call that finally snapped me out of the hype, it wasn't a crash or a close call, thank goodness. It was a conversation with a founder, an e-bike founder I deeply respect. Someone who's been in this industry for over 6 years, building real electric bikes with power and integrity. He told me something that stopped me cold. I've been building and riding 72-volt prototypes for over a year, and I refuse to release them to the public. That's exactly what he said. Why? I asked. Because it is not safe. He didn't need to look me in the eye. His words spoke loud enough. He explained how 50-mile-an-hour torque can launch you off the bike just from brushing the pedal. Or, if you have the wrong pedal assist. And even worse, aluminum frames, bicycle hydraulic disc brakes, dropouts, and forks aren't rated for this. The jump from 60 volts to 72 volts isn't just a boost. It radically multiplies the stress on every single component. He told me this level of power is simply too extreme for the average rider. The torque is violent, the acceleration is overwhelming, and most consumers that are buying these bikes aren't prepared for that kind of force, physically or mentally. Then he hit me with something even heavier. Wired has been promising the 72-volt e-bikes for months, but they're not ready. Their motors and controllers are exploding in China. People have been waiting anywhere from 4 to 6 months, and they still can't ship. That's because the systems itself is not stable. It's blowing up in testing. That's not innovation, that's reckless. And it hit me in that moment hard. I have a responsibility now. People listen to me. People trust me. And if I stay quiet while companies gamble with your safety just to win a power contest, then I'm part of the problem, and that is not happening. So guys, let's break it down. Okay, so not with fluff, but with real tech that explains why 72-volt e-bikes are downright dangerous. This is when paired with bicycle components. Okay, so number one, hang with me. Power, okay, equals voltage times current. When you jump from 60 volts to 72 volts at the same current, you're boosting power by 20%. That's a massive spike in acceleration, heat, and mechanical stress. Think of it like strapping a nitrous system to a beach cruiser. Everything feels faster until your components start snapping. Number two, kinetic energy scales with speed squared. Okay, so crash math is not linear. At 20 miles an hour, a fall might leave a bruise. At 50 miles an hour, you're absorbing over 6 times the impact force. And guess what? 99% of e-bike riders aren't wearing full leathers and DOT-approved full-face helmets. Most of them aren't even wearing helmets at all. Number three, controller and motor failures under high voltage. The more voltage you pump in, the harder your controllers, MOSFETs, and capacitors have to work. Under heavy loads or steep inclines, those components overheat, arc, or even explode. In testing overseas, and yes, I've confirmed this, 72-volt systems are blowing up. Not figuratively, literally. Number four, melting wires and failing connectors. High power equals high current. And if the gauge of the wire isn't up to spec, the insulation softens, connectors warp, and poof, another fire hazard. We have seen motor wires fused together, XT90 connectors melted, and phased wires burned to a crisp. Number five, braking systems pushed past the red zone. Most e-bike brakes, even hydraulic ones, are rated for speeds under 40 miles an hour. At 50 miles an hour plus, your rotors overheat, your pads glaze, and your stopping distance doubles. You could be flying at highway speeds with brakes made for a grocery run. Number 6, frame, fork, and dropout stress fractures. Aluminum may be light, but it's not forgiving. At these power levels, your frame takes constant micro shocks it was never designed to handle. Forks flex, dropouts shear, headsets rattle loose, and let's not forget your rims, which can easily deform or crack under repeated torque surges. This isn't an upgrade, it's mechanical abuse disguised as innovation. You're cranking 5,000 plus watts through parts designed for 750 watts. And then of course we know motors at a nominal 750 watts, they're going to peak a lot higher. 1100 watts, 1500 watts, even 1800 watts. Let's say more powerful motors, right? The 1000-watt motors maybe peak at 2000 watts. Even the Ghost Cat bike, but that one has motorcycle grade suspensions, I mean, they can handle up to 33 watts of power. But for a more like bicycle looking bike, I would say maybe like 2,000 up to 3,000 is like the safe limit. So it's not just unsafe what the 72-volt companies are doing, it's irresponsible, and I won't be quiet about it. And here's what most riders don't realize or stop to think about, okay? So almost every single e-bike on the market uses aluminum frames. Why? Because it's light, because it's relatively cheap, and it's easy to weld. But aluminum has a fatal flaw. It doesn't bend, it breaks, it snaps. Unlike steel, aluminum doesn't flex under stress and recover. It holds micro fractures. Over time, under repeated stress, repeated force from torque, vibration, or even hard landings, those fractures grow until one day, without you even realizing or giving you a warning, it snaps. No warning, no slow fail. 1 second you're riding, the next your frame's in pieces and you're flying like Superman. And when you're dealing with 72-volt systems pushing insane amounts of torque through a single motor, the stress on the frame multiplies. These motors aren't just fast, they're violent. Instant takeoffs, surging torque, extreme vibration. Every time you twist the throttle or hit PAS 5, you're sending shock waves through a material that was never designed to take it. I've already heard reports of cracked welds, bent forks, split dropouts. It's not just theory, it's happening. And then you have Wired selling a dual motor 72-volt beast, I think it's called a Predator. I put it up on the screen. That Citizen Cycle claims can hit 60 miles an hour? 60! On an aluminum frame? That's a lawsuit waiting to happen. Aluminum is fine at 20, 30 miles an hour. It's pushing it at 40 miles an hour, but it can take it. But at 50 or 60 miles an hour, you are on borrowed time. Let's get one thing straight. Speed is not the problem. The problem is pretending a bicycle can survive motorcycle speeds. You see bikes like the Surin, that thing can hit 50 miles an hour stock and it can handle it. And people modify them to go faster, 60, 70 miles an hour. Why? Because it's not an e-bike, it's a legit electric motorcycle. Surons, Onyxes, and other high-speed e-motos are built differently from the ground up. Reinforced steel frames that can flex under stress without cracking. Motorcycle-grade brakes with massive rotors and thick calipers that actually stop you at a dime at 50 miles an hour or more. Heavy-duty front and rear suspensions that absorb speed, weight, and terrain. Thicker tires and rims, motorcycle tires, built for torque and high-speed impact. Wider dropouts, stronger axles, and sealed headsets designed for motorcycle forces. And yes, riders actually wear safety gear, armor jackets, pants, gloves, full-face DOT-rated helmets. Compare that to what most of these 72-volt e-bikes are offering. Aluminum frames, 180mm rotors, pedal assist systems, and a beach cruiser helmet. I mean, even just like watch the influencers that are reviewing the 72-volt bikes. Have you seen what they wear? Like bowling, like bowling looking helmets, open face. And they want you to go 50 to 60 miles an hour? It's a lie, it's reckless, and it is dangerous. And look, I get the appeal, I do. I rode the 80-volt Onyx, I felt the rush. But even then I knew this isn't my world anymore. I'm a cyclist, a pedaler, not a moto rider. Once I can even pedal at speed, once I'm doing 50 miles an hour on a bike with no gearing and no braking system built for it, that's when the voice of reason starts yelling inside of me. This is no longer safe. This is no longer what I signed up for. E-motos are fun. They have a place. But don't you dare slap pedals on one, downgrade the brakes, and call it an e-bike just to dodge regulation. My promise to you, from day one, I've told you, I'm not here to play it safe. I'm here to tell you the truth. And the truth is this: I will not promote a 72-volt e-bike. If a brand comes to me pushing one of these machines disguised as an e-bike, it's a hard no. I don't care how cool it looks, how fast it goes, or how much they're willing to pay. I am not risking your safety, I am not risking mine, I am not selling out, and I am not staying silent. You trusted me when I was chasing adrenaline. Now I need you to trust me even more, as someone who's seen what's coming and refuses to let this industry crash and burn. And to the brands watching this, if you're slapping 72-volt systems on aluminum frames and calling them e-bikes, you are not leading the industry. You're setting it on fire. And when people get hurt, that blood is on your hands. And hey, if you still decide to buy one of these 72-volt death traps, you're an adult, that's your prerogative. But if you do, please wear a real motorcycle helmet. Wear full safety gear. Don't follow the example of certain influencers blasting around at 50+ miles an hour in shorts, a tank top, little bicycle gloves, and a ridiculous looking beach cruiser open-faced helmet. That's not bravery, that's not content, that is just reckless. To my community, I've got you. I'm here to protect the space, to expose the hype, to tell you what's real, and to fight for the future of e-bikes before it's too late. And now, before any of you tell me that now I am riding and promoting the Ebike EV7 Pro, wait, aren't you promoting the EV7 Pro? Isn't that a 48-mile-an-hour dual motor monster? Yes, it's insanely powerful, and I have been debating about it, guys. But here's the difference, okay? So it is still a 52-volt system. It's not a 60-volt system. It's not as hell a 72-volt system. So, and what does that matter? Because it doesn't generate the same heat or violent torque that you see in 60 or 72 volt e-bikes. Why is this important? Because the higher the voltage, the more strain you put on every part of the system. The controller, the motor windings, the battery insulation, the connectors, and the frame. At 72 volts, you're running closer to the limits of what bicycle-grade components can handle. But at 52 volts, you get strong performance without crossing into the danger zone. The Ebike EV7 Pro does use oversized components that were actually chosen to handle this level of output. Thicker gauge wiring to prevent overheating, heavy-duty suspension rated for impact, solid alloy frame construction that's beefier than what you see on most budget, the really budget bikes, and high output brakes with very nice, good brake pads that are tuned to match the speed and weight of the system. And while 48 miles an hour is absolutely too fast for me and for most people safely, I'm only going to push that speed once during testing in my full review, which by the way, it's coming guys, for demonstration purposes only. In real use, I'm personally capping it at 38 miles an hour with 43 miles an hour as the absolute maximum. And when I'm not commuting in traffic, I've been riding this bike a lot, the Ebike. I'm usually riding it around 25 to 30 miles an hour. That's like my sweet spot because I still get resistance from the pedal cranks and the gearing, and I do love to get a workout. And yes, even at those speeds, even in the 30s, I still get my thrill. But guys, let me say something very clearly. This is not a beginner's bike, not even close. And in every video from now on that I start making on the Ebike EV7 Pro, I need to make that clear. If you ride this thing, you better wear full safety gear and give it the respect it deserves. Because even at 52 volts, with that much power of the dual motors, this is a machine that demands maturity. Guys, and one last caveat, it just came to my mind. So this 72 volt monsters, they weigh around 150 pounds or more. I mean, Escape e-bikes, they don't even list the weights on their website. And I don't think that is just like an oversight or whoops, they slipped. I really think they did that on purpose to not scare you with a massive weight. I mean, guys, this is not even bike weight. These are massive machines. So I imagine the Predator with the dual motors, dual batteries, that's gonna weigh even more, maybe close to 100. This I'm making up, okay? But I'm just imagining maybe even 175 pounds. So you're expecting the bicycle components to handle all that power and torque at that weight too? And in contrast, the Ebike EV7 Pro, it comes at a very manageable weight of 82 pounds. But thankfully, not every e-bike brand is drunk on voltage and hype. Some companies actually know when enough is enough. They know when to stop before crossing that fine line. They have built powerful, thrilling machines, but they also understand engineering limits. They care about rider safety. They also care about long-term trust. GhostCat is one of these. They capped their top model, the 60 volt F4X Pro, at 42 miles an hour. They could have gone with a 72 volt system, but no, I talked to Kevin and he decided the safe thing to do was cap it at 60 volts. And this machine could probably go faster than 42 miles an hour, but no, he knows that that fine line is probably in between 40 and 42 miles an hour. Aerial Rider is another good example. Their most powerful e-bikes are 60 volts, and they sit comfortably in that 35 to 40 mile an hour sweet spot. Same with the Ride One Up Rev 1. It has hit 40 miles an hour in boost mode. They can still push it to that safely, and it's a 52-volt bike, right? Furious eBikes, the Canadian brand that's doing amazing things. 60-volt e-bikes across the board, and I think they sell some 52-volt bikes, but there is no reckless jumps to 72-volt e-bikes. Lyric Cycles, another high-end, high-performance brand that refuses to cross the 60-volt line. These are the brands who get it. They know that more power isn't always better, because power without responsibility is a recipe for disaster. And then you've got the others, Wired, Magician, and Escape, which are doing the exact opposite. They're chasing numbers, not safety. They're marketing hype, not engineering. And they're doing it under the false label of e-bike just to avoid regulation and maximize sales. It's not innovation, it's not performance, it's exploitation of consumers' trusts and of the entire industry. So let me ask you again at the very end of this video, are these 72-volt monstrosities, 150-pound plus motorcycles the future of e-bikes? Or are they the ticking time bomb that's about to blow up everything we love about this industry? Because I am done being quiet. I am done pretending this is normal. 60 volts should have been the cut. 40 miles an hour should have been the cut. And if you're tired of the lies, the fake specs, and the influencers selling you hype with zero accountability, I mean, guys, don't you think some of these influencers that have been doing this for a really long time, don't you think they know the engineering behind e-bikes and how they have limits? Why aren't they saying anything, right? Oh. So then let me help you change this. Subscribe right now and be a part of this movement. I'm building a community that exposes the truth, protects riders, and fights back. I'm Electrified Latina, and I won't shut up, I won't sell out, and I won't stay silent. Not now, not ever. And guys, if you made it this far, thank you so much for staying till the end. I will be seeing you very soon for another magnetic video. Please leave your comments down below. I love hearing from you. I love every single comment, and I'm trying to respond to every single one of you because I care. And always remember, whatever you're doing, happy riding. Stay safe. Da 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 da.